I'm here at Belem COP30 venue site, Jayanta Basu. Now we are all talking about the Paris Agreement in its 10th anniversary. 2015 Paris Agreement was inked by more than 100 countries, and that's becoming now the benchmark of the global climate action. Now in 2015, another idea germinated. That is the idea of International Solar Alliance. And that was germinated by a collaborative effort of India, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji initiative along with the French government. Now that also is a 10th anniversary, the idea's 10th anniversary, though actually it was, I think, set up in 2018. Now today I have with me the person who can talk best about it. It's Ashish Khanna, the director of International Solar Alliance. I believe he was the third director since it was born, and I think a lot of questions to you. So that's where we are. So Khanna, I know you are extremely busy. Second week, so very busy scenario all around. But tell me that ISC, the 10th year, when does it stand?
So thank you so much, Jayanta, for having me over. Let's also understand that it was an ambition to put solar internationally, led by a first treaty-based organization based out of India. 10 years from that idea, International Solar Alliance as a treaty-based organization has 125 countries as members.
Formal members.
Formal members. And as you know, because we are a treaty-based organization, each country's parliament ratifies the treaty to become a member.
Okay.
It is therefore Global South's largest multilateral institution based out of India, which tells you how important it has been to actually get 125 countries as members. Second, on the content. It took 25 years for the world to have first 1,000 gigawatt of solar. Next 1,000 gigawatt happened only in 2 years, last 2 years. And it is going to double from 2,000 gigawatts to 4,000 gigawatts in next 4 years. Whereas 4,000.
Next 4 years.
Next 4 years. Why? And it's not only us, our prediction, IEA's prediction, everyone. And for that, Asia will be the center because 70% of that is going to happen in Asia. So the vision of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi was right, that this is going to become at least 1,000 gigawatt, and this is going to be a developing world global South-led agenda. That has come to truth.
Just a question out here before we kind of get more into it. You mentioned that 125 countries and not from the global South. What is the kind of global North response to ISSO?
That's a very good question. We have US, almost entire Europe, Brazil, where we are.
US is still there?
Sorry?
US is still there?
Yes, US is still there.
Okay.
And they are all members. So that just reflects that Global North is fully a member. A lot of Middle East countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, they are all members. Australia is a member. So Japan is a member. So all of them have members, and they are members because all of them felt that solar, now storage and new technologies are going to be a very integral part of clean energy and energy.
Storage is also now part of the whole fabric. Wonderful. Now, our Prime Minister and Indian government has announced several extremely ambitious programs on solar, including on green and all that.
Correct.
So, can you tell us that where exactly do we stand right now?
Sure. So you will be pleased to hear that one sun, one world, one grid to connect East Asia to India, to South Asia, Middle East, Europe and all has been formally adopted as a secretariat in ISA in our assembly that was held 2 weeks back in Delhi. 137 countries, 550 delegates, where the Honorable President of India came for the first time since 2018. So there is a formal recognition of the importance of the agenda. We also launched some of the other pilots as platforms. One of them is to have solar PV and battery waste recycling. Because as you do a lot of these projects, you will actually need to manage the environmental recycling. But more importantly, the technology to get 98 to 100% of rare earth in solar PV and battery exists. So you don't need to actually go and scout for resources when your own solar PV panels and battery can get you all the resources. So those are, and then we are also trying, which is very important, India helping Africa. So we are setting up centers of excellence for their training. We are setting up Africa's solar facility for actually getting private sector to start investing in Africa. So there are a lot of these platforms that are there now.
Truly global kind of dimension right now. But from global to our national, because India's policy on climate change hinges a lot on solar. If I may say so, it's a solar-dominated policy. Though India has not announced its NDC so far, we are all expecting to come up in due course of time. But India's policy is a very solar-centric policy. How much India is contributing in the solar growth?
So there, India has now become the world's third largest solar producer in the world. We have done 126 gigawatts, and as part of the target of 50% from non-fossil fuels, which was our NDC, India has achieved it 5 years in advance in 2025. And definitely, I see the government of India very keen to meet the 500 gigawatts target. So, and solar is going to be a majority part of it. And I will say one very important thing, which is important in COP. I tell most countries that do solar not only because it's great for the climate, but for economically, this is the best thing for the country. 2 reasons. It is least cost. Now, solar and storage together are least cost generation options for 90% of our member countries.
And sorry to interrupt, also I think the solar market-wise is also becoming quite acceptable, because solar power cost is now less than the thermal power cost.
That's what I said. So solar and storage is now the least cost in 90% of the countries. So it's all economics that is driving the solar and not only the climate.
So economics, environment, ecology, all are kind of a win-win scenario. Now, you mentioned about the COP 30. If we look at the COP 30 so far, we are right in the beginning of the second week, or the deciding week, so to say. But already we have seen a lot of protest on the roads of Delhi, within and outside, primarily against the fossil fuel expansion. The fossil fuel has its own role, and there are debates and all those. But now the people are saying solar is there as a backup. Why you need to short kind of fossil fuel? So how do you see your head? Are we expecting, or can we expect any major ISA breakthrough during this coming week here? Any important discussions that you are going to, whatever you can share with us?
Sure. My own view is that perhaps the economics and now solar being combined with storage and transmission will itself solve the future of energy security. There are some financing questions. We here in COP 30 are primarily looking at 2 big agendas from ISA. The first, in the spirit of implementation and not talking, we have launched 2 platforms. The first platform, on which we just had an action agenda earlier today, was on AI and digitization. India and Brazil together have extremely good use cases on how can AI increase renewable energy penetration, save as much as 20-25%, lead to a lot of real-time system efficiency, especially as you do a lot of solar rooftop and DRE.
It will happen in India and Brazil.
Yes, but I'm saying India has a lot of innovation that will have to be taken to the world. That's exactly. And the second is we have set up small island developing states platform. Most of the SIDS countries have been saying that there's too much of talk about them without real projects. Most SIDS countries still have 80 to 85% of their power coming from diesel and fossil fuels. Some of them are spending 13% of their GDP, not budget, on fossil fuel subsidies. But they are not able to get solar and storage.
Which are the small island countries you are looking at?
Well, small island developing states are Pacific islands. They are like Fiji, Papua New Guinea, Kiribati. Then you have Africa and Asia like Maldives, Seychelles, Mauritius, Sao Tome, and you have a lot of Caribbean countries, whether they are
How many total?
so we have 16 countries that have come together and said, let's do a common procurement. Because why should each country try and do small projects that private sector is not interested in?
So big one.
Big one. And learn from each other.
Funding will come from IC or
Private sector.
Private sector.
Private sector. But we will give technical assistance to do a digital e-marketplace, to bring the projects together, and we are working with World Bank Group to do some of the transmission investments that will also.
When it is going to kind of initiate on the ground?
So we are right now in a process where all countries in our assembly 2 weeks back signed a declaration to do a joint procurement. Now we are classifying the countries who all are ready for a project, who all need support on policies and regulations. Then in the next 6 months, based on this assessment, we will launch the first phase of the procurement.
Fine. My final question is that these are all hunky-dory. And as look good, hunky-dory in real terms, not I'm not criticizing, but you must be having your own challenges. Okay? The fossil fuel lobby is too big, can be ignored. I'm not talking about to ignore them, but it's difficult on various accounts. So what are the major challenges as of now you're facing, and what your way around it?
Well, I would like to say something on your question of honky-dory and all. I think one of the big mistakes the renewable energy industry and climate change people do is to be prescriptive and very preachy to countries that don't do gas, don't do coal. That's a mistake. You should make the policy, regulations and the environment for renewables and storage to become the least cost and let market decide.
Let the market
decide. So I don't think that ISA or anyone should be saying don't do gas, don't do coal, don't do nuclear. Because each country for its national security and energy security will decide what is in the best interest. I will go back on what I said. Today, solar and storage are the least cost. And why do I say that? Because I remember what I told you. 1,000 gigawatt to 2,000 gigawatt in 2 years, going to double to 4,000 gigawatt in 4 years. That tells you solar is here to stay. That does not mean that it will make all fossil fuels redundant. And therefore, our job is to have solar storage become competitive in countries that it is already, like India, and in countries where it has the potential, like Africa, to reduce the risk so that it can become competitive. There sits where they want to do it, but they are unable to do it. So this is a democratization so that no one is there.
Absolutely final question.
Challenge.
It may not be linked directly with ISA, but as because India is a major player. In India's solar expansion, there are often a criticism that it is not really homogeneous across the country. Though there are issues of solar resolution being less in one part and more in another part, but even the less resolution in India is much more than what we see in the country, in Germany. So there is a complaint that East and Northeast are not getting enough support from wherever it is required to take the solar up. Your comment on that, your thought on that. I'm not saying the critical point, and this is a very operational part, but what do you think of it?
I will relate it to a much larger trend I want to see in the world, especially in India, that the solar rooftop.
Yes, that's it.
And the agriculture pumps deserve far greater allocation of public policy and resources than utility scale solar. Utility scale solar is important, but I feel more and more countries need to do a lot of decentralized applications. And that is true for Northeast. Northeast probably will need a lot more support on rooftop solar.
So we feel that these areas can have much more agricultural farms and other kind of things. It's absolutely wonderful. We just have spoken to the director of ISA, the head of ISA, and International Solar Alliance. As I pointed out at the beginning, is one program which turned from pledge to part of given process. And there are other programs who are now looking towards ISA as a kind of a benchmark of converting into the event process. With this COP30 going on and a lot of pressure mounting up on the fossil fuel, I think solar is an option countries are looking at, and ISA is playing and can play perhaps a bigger role in achieving that. So, very important inputs from the man who knows it all. from my side. And it's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.